course. So you're all welcome to the third edition and the second part of the PEL English Literatures Writers Conference. Welcome, GÜLİSTAN YILDIZ MENTEŞ. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's fine, no problem. GÜLİSTAN YILDIZ MENTEŞ, but you did great, really, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us here, and that's very nice of you.
Yeah.
Yes, as you know, I'm calling from Turkey.
Welcome to Rennie Drummond-Brown.
Here. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, would love to start from you, GÜLİSTAN. I don't know if you have copies of your book there with you, for you to talk about your book for like 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to me. And yes, I'm an author from Turkey. I've been writing books for over 15 years. And my books are both in Turkish and English. And my English books are on Amazon right now. I've got one chapter book called Will You Be My Pet, as you see. And it's for maybe a little bit older children, like aged between 8 and 12, let's say. And why did I write Will You Be My Pet? Because I care about animals and I care about our world. I think kids need some guidance about when they keep animals as pets, and I just wanted to write this book because one day my son just on a rainy day he came from school and he said that, "Look, mommy, I've got a snail in my container," and it just like sparked my imagination, and I wanted to write this book because I think kids, and there are lots of things that kids aren't aware of about animals. So in this book, I tried to cover 3 points. One point is about animals in our houses and how should we treat them, and what kind of responsibilities have we got towards these animals. And pets, of course, like humans, they have got certain rights, and kids should be aware of these things. And the second point is street animals. You know, street animals are, of course, our friends, but they can be dangerous. They can carry some diseases. Some kids, they don't know, and they touch these animals. So this was the one of the main points that I wanted to cover in the book as well. And the third one, wild animals, of course, and they keep our planet's balance, and we need to take care of them. And they have got their own freedom to roam in their habitats. So I tried to write a story based on these points, and I hope that kids like my book, and I'm trying to reach more people across the world, of course, for this book. And my picture books are, I'm sorry because I didn't have but the Turkish ones. Covers are the same. So one is The Helpful Deer, and in this book it's all about friendship and helping a friend who is in need, who is injured. And I tried to create a story like this, let's say. And this one is this wise snowy owl. The wise snowy owl. In my books, I try to choose these rare animals as main characters. So snowy owls, I don't think many of us know these Arctic animals. So, and this is another picture book of mine. And in this book, it's all about the midnight sun in the Arctic. And I was amazed by the story of midnight sun. So it's all about friendship and this natural event in the Arctic region. So, and this one, of course, the jolly toucan. All of us need to be jolly and to be happy. And in this book, Jolly tries to help his friends who are unhappy. And this book is all about solving problems and looking at the problems in a positive way. So The Jolly Toucan is another book of mine. And The Gold-Hearted Tiger is my first book. And this book, I have got two sons, by the way, and one is 9 years old and the other one is 13. When they were small, I used to make up stories like this, and The Gold-Hearted Tiger is one of our bedtime stories. Then I turned it into a book like this, and it's all about, again, being good and being helpful. So, The Gold-Hearted Tiger. And these are, I think, my books. So what else? If you have any questions, Peter, you can ask me. So these are my 6 picture books, but Turkish ones, because they're on, and I couldn't have the copies yet. So.
Yeah, they're beautiful. They seem to me to be all children's literature, right? Children's book.
Exactly, and they are suitable for maybe elementary school students, but even teachers in nursery schools can use them. Just the writing is a little bit too much, but the content is suitable for small children as well. So
that's beautiful. That's amazing.
Thank you.
They're all available on Amazon, right?
They're all available on Amazon, but maybe in the second round we can talk about marketing and what is my current situation about how do I market my books.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's so all I can say about my books, I'm trying to touch the hearts of many children across the world and spread positive energy and just help them in a way. I don't know, maybe it's very difficult, but I'm doing this at the moment.
That's great. That's quite fantastic. So I'll be moving into Rainy to have Rainy talk about her books too.
Let me grab 2 of them, Peter.
She's going to get a copy of her book.
I can see. And Peter, I think you've got books too.
Yes, I have books. I have books, but I only have 2 copies of my book here. Ecstasy of the Dead and this, A Cry for Mercy. So the other ones, they are not.
So it's a novel.
I'd love to talk about them too.
Okay, I would love to hear from you about your books as well. Rennie, please.
Hi. Okay, so I have several books as well, and they are sold on Amazon. But today I'm going to talk about some of the books that I wrote for women in particular. So this book is titled Us Women Ain't No Joke, Book of Poems. And then this book is for the African American women, or women of color, I'll say. It's titled Brown Sugars. And this book I kind of wrote for myself, saved a little piece of the pie for myself.
You have amazing covers.
Thank you. Me, myself, and I, book of poems. And so something we rarely do as women, we sacrifice and give ourselves to everybody but self. And this is I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. And this is for just all of my sisters across the globe, red, yellow, black, brown, and white women, all of us. And then last, blood, sweat, and tears. And just our submission as women. So I guess I'll start with Brown Sugars, just that book. So basically, Brown Sugars by Renee Drummond Brown is written about women of color who the author refers to in the book as sisters. To earn the prestigious title sister, the woman of color has endured some things in her lifetime, and then some, that no one else can withstand. And she also shares a code of honor with other sisters that surpass all understanding. For example, a sister is conditioned from a little girl to always smile through it all, never cry no matter what the situation, whether emotional, physical, psychological, because one thing for sure and two for certain, she knows when she is at her lowest and weakest hour, she is army strong. This poetry book addresses our ill wills, plights, our heartfelt struggles, and our need to be seen and heard. Because a sister ain't hardly afraid to say it loud. She be black and she be Negro proud. Some mistake sisters for being evil, which is furthest from the truth. Truth be told, we're sugar and spice and all the things nice. Don't get it twisted. We can get loud when backed into a corner and have no problem rolling our eyes, snapping our neck back, running, and carrying a big stick. We ain't afraid to use it. This book illustrates the good, the bad, and the ugly side that must be shown when coming up against the enemy, which leaves us no choice but to stand our ground. When it comes to a bona fide sister, don't start no stuff, and there won't be no mess. That's what this book is written about. So it just, the book just talks about some of the things that we have endured since the time of slavery and coming here to America, the things that we go through just on a daily basis in terms of our education, in terms of how just everyday life, just having a husband, children, just the plight, as I said, of a woman of color. All of my books tell a story. They are a theme. And in each of the themes, as I said to you, they tell a story of just the who, the what, the where, the when, the why, and the how we do it as women, just all over. And I'm speaking of all women of all colors, all races, and all walks of life. So there you have it. That's what this collection that I'm sharing with you today is about. It's just recognizing our sisters across the globe that sometimes are voiceless. They don't have a voice. And I certainly don't speak for all of us sisters, because we all have our own stories from country to country. We have so many stories, but the one thing that I do know that we share together is our strength, our willingness to give of ourselves, our sacrifices, our love, our unconditional love. There's so many things, though we differ, we all share that common bond in togetherness with one another across the globe. So that's what my books are about.
That's amazing. That's so amazing.
Very impressive.
Thank you.
And lots of feelings are going on there.
Yes, yes, Yes.
It's not easy to write such a book, really. Congratulations.
Thank you. But it's a connection, and it's I want to hear your words. I don't care if it's a children's story, whatever type of story it is, fiction, nonfiction. That's what I think writing is all about. So that it brings us all together and let us share a common bond to connect with one another, because our words are powerful.
Absolutely.
Words have power, and me learning your stories from you. Nobody can tell a Turkish woman's story better than a Turkish woman. I can read all the books in the world, but nobody can give me what I need to hear from you but you. You cannot hear my story from storybooks and history books and different things. You have to hear them from me, because I experience those things. Only Peter can teach us things from Africa and what an African man goes through. And so that's why I wrote my books.
I can't disagree with you, really. And it's amazing whenever I meet a new author or someone from a different profession, maybe you just keep learning new things, and it's just like endless.
Yes.
You can't just stop learning. And today it's just like I'm in a different atmosphere, and it's amazing, really. So learning something maybe about Nigeria, about America, or about your background is so amazing. And I think that's why I'm not going to stop writing, really, because it's just like a source of knowledge, and you just want to learn more and more each time. So it's amazing. Thank you. Happy.
Yesterday, I went back to my grad program. I went back to school later in life, and certainly in returning, of course, I was one of the older, I would say probably the oldest one sitting in the classroom, but in going back, I went back to read yesterday. And I always love going back, because now you have another generation of, I call them kids, like Peter at his age. And so it is even important for us to connect even back with them. So that type of reading was so different than my style of reading. But as you mentioned, and I know I'm going to mess it up, GÜLİSTAN, as you mentioned, just you learning so much, being connected to other authors. That's how we grow as writers ourselves, going into those spaces that we would not normally go into, and have to come out of our comfort zones and embracing all walks of life, again, and all readers of all kinds, because I like you, I love being around other writers from other countries. You learn so much from each person that you're around in these audiences. And so again, like I said, I connected with young people yesterday in ways that, we kind of get away from. Certainly there is an age difference, but writing still remains the same.
And I think it's just like such things, such connections keep our vision wide. Maybe it's just like it will be beginning for a new book, or to write something new, I don't know. But my brain is just like a huge library, and there are lots of books, but I don't know whether my how many years I left. I'm not sure about this, but I want to keep creating new books, and in my brain lots of things are going on, and I hope that we can be useful in a way for our planet. So whenever I talk to someone from a different country, I just feel that there are lots of beautiful people, but we aren't aware of. And I think our planet needs more good people, and maybe for a better future for our children. I don't know. I'm hopeful. I'm not negative. And I'm doing my bit. I hope I can be successful because I'm not writing books to be rich or like to be selfish. I'm trying to just get my message across, and I'm trying to touch the hearts of children and to be helpful in a way. But I hope that I'm managing that. So I'm not sure, but when I get feedbacks from children, I get very happy because I attend author events in Turkey, but I don't have a chance to do this in America or in a different country. Maybe in the future, I don't know. So why not? When we imagine something, we can just make it happen, make it happen. I don't know. So kids are amazing. They pick up things very fast, and their world is different from ours, you know?
Absolutely.
So I get these positive reactions from children in Turkey. So I'm very happy for that. I hope that we can do something more constructive for kids in the future. So that's the thing that keeps me alive, I think.
I think the one thing I will say, when you said, you're not writing to get rich, or you hope that your words are, your words are out there. And the one thing we said, we don't have a whole lot of time left in life. One thing good is we left a legacy behind of these words, and we may be long gone, and we may not see it ourselves, but certainly these words may be studied in schools later, colleges, or what have you. These words may be left here for they will be left here for a long time after you and I are gone. So I think the richness comes in that those words will always be floating out there, and there will always be someone that will like and someone who will love your works. And the fact that you are on Amazon, you are a global author. You have already made it. The book is there. It just needs to have the right audience or the right people to purchase it. You only need one person that may purchase that book and be of another country that your words take off from.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think that's the beauty of publishing on Amazon. Where you can get to reach quite a lot of people regardless of their location or geographical position.
And Peter's book is a testament to that, a perfect testament. Think of his book, yes, does he have book? Certainly, I don't know how he found me, but he smelled me his book. So it's here in Pittsburgh, and it'll forever be with me. I take a lot of pride.
In Nigeria too.
Oh yes, oh yes, oh
it's
yes.
Global. Anything on Amazon is global.
Yes.
You can get it from India, any
Yes.
part of the world, Africa, Europe,
Yes.
Asia, North America, everywhere, all over the continent.
Yes. I went to an event and there was a young lady. Don't quote me. I want to say her book might be titled Rag Dolls or something like that. But and it was a domestic violence event that I was invited to and asked to write some poetry to bring there. Well, the young lady had poetry all in her book that fit that theme. And so I read her poem there, and I had it videoed, and I put it online on Facebook. She would have never seen that, or you see what I'm saying, or maybe couldn't get there to do that herself. So that's why I said your words are very powerful. You may have a school, a grade school teacher, elementary school teacher that comes across your book, maybe for a gift or whatever, and she shares it in her classroom, and so that's how our words reach others. And so, as you said, hopeful, your words are.
Yes, but the point is, we live in a cruel world of marketing because if you're not powerful, if your marketing side isn't powerful, then it doesn't matter how good your book is. It doesn't work that way, really. So the problem is you need to appoint some marketing strategies, and of course, and if you go for this paid ads, it's quite challenging for me because the currency is different between these two countries, and there's a huge gap. So my problem is I'm not entitled to create a huge marketing space for my books. I put them there, and of course on social media I have got some writers groups, and I sometimes interact with them, but this is not enough. You need to try harder and to put lots of effort and energy into it in order to become successful. And on my daily life, of course, I have got work in Turkey, and I focus my energy on this part. But in a way, I would love to just like to have my books out there and to make them heard. But it's quite challenging for me. Maybe you can give me some clues or something. But without spending money or investing money into your books, it seems a weak possibility to me, because I can see some writers, they're trying very hard and investing their monies and going for paid ads. So I know that these are some effective ways to make your books visible among millions of books on Amazon. Yeah. So this is my, I think, handicap. So it's just like quite difficult for me to say, really, my books are good and you should just like notice them. I sometimes just like scream out, but not in an effective way. So I, again, step back. So, and I'll just leave them. I sometimes check my account. Maybe there is a surprise today, and maybe someone can just see my books. But I'm not very hopeful, because I just need to save some money, and then for marketing my books on Amazon. So I think you agree with me. Maybe you have got a different perspective. I don't know, but these are my problems about my books, really. Otherwise, I believe in them. So.
For me, I would suggest the first thing is to join as many groups as you can on Facebook that are book groups, publishing groups, and author groups. That's the first thing. Posting is nice, and you certainly want to stay relevant and keep up with your posts and things, but that's the first area I think you want to market. The second area, you have a children's book. You have a specific type of book. So when we think of children's book, you want to go to schools. You have to invest in yourself. You have to be very careful of those marketers calling and wanting money, and they can do this and do that, and you invest a lot of money. I think Peter and I saw that on the last segment that he did. We'll take you for a ride, but invest maybe in 10 books for yourself at your author's price. Take those books to your local schools. Go in and see the elementary teacher and say, hey, I have this book that's on Amazon. I'd like to donate it to your school. And I know everywhere is different. All countries are different. I'm just giving you suggestions.
No, in Turkey, I have got good schools and they believe in me. I'm talking about my English books on Amazon. So because I'm not in America or in England, take my books to schools and introduce them and to make myself understood. But in Turkey, I do that, and I've got lots of author events and good reactions from schools and students, teachers as well.
But
my problem is with my English books on Amazon because as you know, without marketing, your books can't be visible among millions of books on Amazon. So they're not visible there. If you just click on Amazon and see, you can't find my books because there are many.
But
let me just finish what I was saying to you in terms of when I said to you going to schools. I went to activity centers and I literally just gave a book, there. I went to different places. There were friends who said, hey, I have a grandchild. She goes to such and such school. The teacher saw, you reading online. Can you give a book to my grand? So, and that child posed with the book. And the parent put it online. Or grandparent, I should say, put it online. Where I was going with you, the direction I was going in, is maybe you going into that classroom also, not just donating the book, maybe asking the teacher, can I come in to read the story? This is important. You'll have kids go home with, we had Mr. So-and-so or substitute teacher so-and-so. They go home, they talk. And that may be the introduction you need to get your book purchased there. I'm only going with Turkey because that's, where you are. And so it's important for you to maybe ask those parents. Some of them may want to talk to you later. Can you post that review on Amazon for me for the book? Your child liked the book so much. If a parent would like to thank you for reading to that child, maybe have a reading day that it's open for the parents to come sit there. That way it introduces those parents to you as the author as you're reading that book. Certainly that may be a good take for them to, purchase your book from you, maybe have extra ones there. I'm just giving you some little tips. Those are some of the things I did. I went to local churches and said, can you put this in your church library for me? With the children's book. Now, I'll say this, the difference with me and you. I think you're probably a stronger writer than I am with children's book. I've only written one. That's not my strong suit, but those are little things that help me. Reviews are always good. So whether it be in Turkey, on Amazon, it will be very important for people that that are willing to give you that review to ask them, hey, can you also go on Amazon? I'm not asking you to do a separate one, even copy and paste that same review over on Amazon. Those are it's people reading your reviews. That's what becomes, I would say, your marketing strategy also, because me clicking on Amazon, seeing your book there and reading a wonderful review about that book, that's marketing all within itself. So, those are just tips I think that would help.
Sure. And I've got a couple of reviews on Amazon. And Peter, I think you read one of my books because
I
they
did.
On
was it last year?
How do you pronounce this? Kindle Unlimited or
Kindle Unlimited.
So they're free. If you have a membership, then you can just download my books. And thank you so much. You did that, and it's been a great support for me. I remember your review. The point is, because there are lots of writers and they're busy with their businesses. So when sometimes I try to, if there is a free ad, because on Amazon, they let us just like countdown deals and or free marketing. And so we have got a couple of chances there. I try to just reach, because I am a member of some groups on Facebook, but sometimes nobody see your post or they're not interested in it very much. So I just leave it. But in Turkey, I'm in a better position because they're Turkish, so I can go to schools and people see me. So I'm moving forward step by step because and kids love my books and they want new books from me. And schools are interested in my writing as well, sorry. So, but for my English books, I have a little chance, but maybe I can create a bigger one in the future with your tips, maybe with the help of social media or anything else may come on my way. I don't know. I would love to move forward, but I haven't been able to do that for a long time, and I don't know the last book I sold really, so on Amazon, so that's a pity.
Are you comfortable reading your own work?
Sure, I did this with a couple of, even last year I was very excited because I connected to a school, autism school in somewhere in America, and it was very exciting because I read one of my stories to them and I connected to India again, and I talked to some kids and read one of my stories as well. So I would love to do that.
And I asked that question, then that would be a great marketing strategy for you, is to have the right setting behind you, such as I see there with the hot air balloons. It's perfect for a child setting. And to sit with a book and read. I'm not telling you give your whole book away, because what's the purpose of writing? So I'm not saying read the whole book, but you certainly can take a page or one of the maybe stories in the book, read it, some nice lighting beside you, some cookies maybe sitting there. Staging is everything. And posting that on your page. You certainly, anyone who is a school teacher, with how eloquent you speak and just, you reading that story, you're going to attract attention. Then social media is so important today. Of course, me, again, being a little older, I'm not with it with the children today on with the Twitter and all the other, I can't even think of all the stuff, Peter, but I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn. But it would certainly be important for you to get connected to those sites as well. Marketing never sleeps. That's what I say. Marketing never sleeps.
Wow.
You have to market. Absolutely. Marketing is different than writing the book. We love to write because that is what we do. When your book is done, it's just the books back there are just gonna sit there. I have to go back and visit that book that I wrote in 2015 that I marketed the other day, last week. You have to keep your book relevant. And I think it hasn't showed up on the page of it, but I think there were 2 new reviews that the 2 people said they posted, but they haven't showed up as of yet on Amazon. But I'm saying to you, you never can stop your marketing strategies yourself. I said to Peter once, who is going to market you better than you? And that answer is nobody.
Absolutely.
Nobody.
You have a great point. Thank you. And sure, of course, we should never let our book sleep forever. We need to keep it alive. And I'm not hopeless about this. All we need to keep trying, really. But I have got a dream, and it's just like Peter.
Yeah.
I just want to read one of my stories to a school in Nigeria. Do they speak English? I would love to just connect to a school.
Sure.
It's just like a dream. I'm not telling that they need to buy my book. I'm willing to do this. It will be fantastic to just connect to one of the schools. If you can just connect us, I'll be very happy. It's exciting.
Sure, we speak English in Nigeria. English is the official language in Nigeria. So concerning that, I can look out for one. one of these children is in school and get in touch back to you and how it goes.
Sure, thank you. This is very exciting. And maybe in America, I can connect to students as well, because I'm a mother and I feel very excited when I just see different children and they're from different parts of the world. So it's fantastic.
I'm certainly past the school rearing age. I have a grandson, but I say this, why not read a piece for me? And why not tag me in it on Facebook, and I'll post it to my page. That's what I do with other authors' works. That's what Peter will tell you, his review when it was finished that I wrote for him. I posted the review on my page. I got it published in a magazine. So I do believe an author supporting authors, and that is big for me. So why don't you read one of your stories and maybe take some of the suggestions I said and tag me, send me the link, and I'll put it on my Facebook page and introduce you to some of the American people who follow my work.
Thank you very much. That will be very helpful. I'll do that. Thank you.
Yes.
This is great. And Peter, I think you're going to talk about your book.
His book.
And can I just say something? Maybe Remy deserves to be a bestseller author. Maybe Peter deserves to be a bestseller author, because I don't believe in this title. Do you understand what I mean? Some of the authors, some of them, maybe many of them haven't been discovered. So they're just trying very hard and they invest money into it and become bestseller authors. Do you understand what I mean? Maybe you deserve that. So I don't believe in these best-selling titles. Do you agree with me? So this is really because it's not fair to say that I'm a bestseller author, because you do everything to just sell your books and you become a bestseller author. But I can't do this. I'm not really in this position, or you or Peter or anybody else. So I don't like this title.
Well, I agree with what you said, but we don't write books just to write for free. We don't write for just fun. While it is, I'll say, a hobby for some, I've certainly had my career retired from it, and so I do write as a hobby. And I'm a person, optimistic, and I feel also like whatever happens, happens. You know, a gift for me today was opening both of my eyes. That's a gift. If my books sell, that's fine too. So there's certainly bigger problems in this entire world, across this globe, than if one of us is a bestseller or not a bestseller. I'm just grateful that I was able to pen so many books in my lifetime. There are some people who have never wrote a book, but have just as much to say as you and or I, and possibly are a better writer than me. I'm just glad we dared to jump and we took a leap of faith and we did it. So for me, I look at myself as a best-selling author. For me, one book. I'm grateful for one sale today. One. If I get 1,000, that's beautiful too. Beautiful. But I'm grateful for small things. That's all. I just, so I do, like I said, agree with you. But sometimes we ought not to get hung up on that. Just focus on being the best writer we can be. Certainly your words are, again, going back to you have a softness about yourself. You definitely are a children's writer. I can say that. And just get your gift out there. Utilize your gifts. You're not afraid to read from your books, and put that online. Post those on those publisher sites. Post it on the book sites. Post it on those author sites. Because you have authors from all over, and certainly the children. Are you connected to any children book sites? You have to be connected to those children pages on Facebook. That's important.
I have already, but I think I need to discover more.
Mm-hmm.
So,
mm-hmm.
I can try harder. Thank you so much for your tips and valuable ideas. Thank you. And by the way, Peter, I just need to warn my kids. They're making some noise. I'll be back right away, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Just coming back, sorry.
Peter, you were going to talk about your book, and I do want to hear about it. If you wanted to wait for her.
I would love to.
Oh, please. Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to. Here's A Cry for Mercy, which was recently published. Yeah, it was recently published.
And is that number 2?
No, there's the first.
Is that Escape from the? That is the Escape from the Dungeon. Okay. You had a second book written to that series, or I believe there were 3, correct?
Yeah, there are 3. There are 3 series.
I thought there were 3 to the series.
Yeah, so the other one.
Sorry about that.
So this is the first book in the series of Escape from the Unseen Dungeons. Yeah, A Cry for Mercy, which is more or less like a spiritual book of poem that talk about the human experience in the spiritual sort of sense. Because, I love talking about spiritual things, and I love talking about the condition of the human being. So here in A Cry for Mercy, I talk about, quite a lot of human being, the pains, the tragedy of life, the quest, the human quest, and the situation of the human being. The poem is written from the perception of someone who is very sad, who is very despondent, who is pleading for mercy, asking God for help and intervention. And this is actually, this series, or this first book, is actually an introduction to the real work. The real work started in the second version of the book. That's How the Demons Live. That's what I can actually say is the book itself. And that's why you find the poem itself, Escape from the Unseen Dungeons, because it's very, this is like an invitation, an open invitation for everybody, more or less like a book of plea and lamentation for readers to be able to grab in. I want to see what becomes of the narrator in the second book series. So, yeah, I love talking about the spiritual things. I love talking about spiritual titles. And I've come to think of it, how our life physically is being influenced by what happens to our spirit being. Well, that comes up in the second book series. But this particular series is like a book of plea and lamentation, where you have a narrator pleading to escape from the dungeons that he cannot see, the things that are invincible to him, the things that are hard to understand, hard to describe, hard to give a grasp of. So yeah, I'd love to read the back page of the book, so probably the viewers can have an idea of what the book it's all about. And it goes like this: a spiritual.
Peter, is it on Amazon? Sorry to interrupt.
It's on Amazon. By searching Peter Okonkwo, you'll find it there. So, is spiritual bondage real? Are our lives a reflection of what happens to our spirit being? Can we ever find answer or understand the incomprehensible things that tie man down? So it goes on. It goes on. A Cry for Mercy, the first volume of Escape from the Unseen Dungeon, is a spiritual book of poetry that touches on the philosophic and spirituality of human experiences. The book is written from the perception of a narrator whose spirit being has experienced horrific spiritual bondage, telling the tale of how it negatively influences life. The narrator starts a poetic journey in A Cry for Mercy by pleading for compassion and divine intervention about his soul-destroying experiences in the invincible dungeon. He talked about his obstacles, heartache, pain. At some point, he questioned his fate, asking if he truly have a purpose on earth or is a forgotten being. The narrator expresses words of hopelessness and tries to lay blame. His tears in the dungeons were heartfelt, uncomfortable, and dreadful. The narrator pleads for forgiveness as they desperately yearn for freedom from the unseen powers that held him down in captive. He wrestled with the invincible forces of darkness, of his flesh, stagnation, indiscernible enemies, obstacles, and many more. At some point, these forces nearly overcame him and put him to death in the dungeon. This spiritual book of poetry is written in 3 distinct volumes: A Cry for Mercy, How the Demons Live, and I Saw the Light, with each section touching deeply into matters that address human conditions and other divine subjects. This book can be considered as a thoughtful resource, for the thoughtful examination instead of lamentation and spiritual obstacles in life. It tells the story of captivity, unbeknownst bondage, and slavery. You will find ghastly dirge to the many incomprehensible things that tie a man down. Yeah, it's powerful. It's more than I can describe.
Yes,
It's
it is.
amazingly written. So,
Yes, it is.
copy.
Yes, it is. Yes. I did a critical review on that book, GÜLİSTAN, and I was trying to look for something wrong because Peter is not a personal friend at the time that was sent to me. So, and I literally couldn't find anything. So I just said, hey, here's some subsections. You could have maybe given us a pause. But the truth of the matter, I couldn't put it down anyway. It didn't matter if they were there or not. So having said that, I do want to say this. That's what the life's journey is about for some of us anyway. It's about a spiritual awakening. So not only was that book, as Peter described it on the back, it also was like, for me, I'll say a reflection, of self, and making you kind of even look at your own self, the own maybe bondage that you're in of yourself, or the dungeon that you're in, the darkness, some of the crying that we do, our lamentations, our prayers, whatever. There was so many things that was going on in that book. And Peter truly, how do I want to say, he really, that book, I don't know how you're going to have something to follow it. I'll say it like that. That book said it all. It was very, very well written. The writing was tight. I mean, airtight. He's a very powerful writer. His words flow into the next where he is, going in his writings without being a spoiler and giving this book away. He truly, the power of forgiveness, just so many things. He touched on everything from beginning to end with that book. Really, really an enjoyable read. And I do plan to get one of the other books on my bucket list of things to do, to follow. Yes.
I feel like from your explanations and description, I feel like that I have already read the book.
Yes. Yes.
So thank you so much for this background information. And I think, Peter, in your book, Peter, I'm, of course, I don't know. I'm not, I don't know much about your books, but as far as I understand that you focus on humans' inner voice and how to, am I right?
Yeah.
Inner voice, because not all writers can really reflect that. So this is not easy one. So if you could manage that, congratulations, because I can see that your literature side is quite powerful. So I can see from your reading and your lines, because you have just read some lines.
Yeah.
So it's quite powerful. So
Uh,
amazing.
I would also, Peter, if I could add about your book too, I also think that for me, not just your inner voice, I think the human condition, I think you were really powerful in the book. For me, that's what I got out of it. Not so much his voice, but the narrator's voice, because he set it up in a way that this narrator is speaking through this book. So I think he just did a phenomenal job addressing the human condition through the narrator for me.
Absolutely. Actually, I actually love talking about the deep issues of life. I love talking about the difficult issues of life, like the issues that bring human to tears, cry, quite a lot of, a lot of issues that a human being passes through. And I just love to put them together. And the narrator in the book, it's like quite a lot of people said in reviews that the narrator here doesn't have a good end. The narrator here is dreadful. The narrator here is in a lot of passing through a lot. And I was like, oh, that's a good
I think the narrator was truthful. That's what I would say.
That's a great one. It really enjoy getting to do it. I'm looking forward to the other series, and I'm hopeful that they will all be a success.
And if we have got time, because I want to just read a small part from my book.
Yes.
Sure, go ahead and read.
Sometimes we need to feel like children. I read lots of children's books, by the way. So just a small part from the Jolly Toucan, the entry part. On an early morning in the jungle, Jolly the Toucan poked his bill out of his cozy nest. His stomach was rumbling because he was hungry. It was time for breakfast. He hopped from branch to branch to search for delicious fruit. He especially loved figs. After a yummy breakfast, he flapped his wings and traveled around to say good morning to his friends. He loved cheering them up. So this is the first page of Jolly Toucan. Just wanted to read for you.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
Are you reading another?
If you want to, I can read the next page for you.
Can she just so we can hear a little bit more?
Jolly also loved perching on a branch and singing cheerful songs to his buddies. When they sang along with Jolly, musical notes echoed through the tall trees and into the blue sky. And this is funny one. La, la, la, croak, croak, croak. I'm over the moon today. La, la, la, croak, croak, croak. Come and join in my song. It's a happy, happy day. La, la, la, croak, croak, croak.
That'll be fun for children to read.
Yes, of course. And I think inside me always there is a child inside me, and I don't let this child grow up. So I love the child inside my heart.
It's beautiful.
I would like to share a short piece that I wrote, and it's titled Oceanic Blue. That's actually one of the covers on my poetry.
I can see that.
But so while I was in Africa, the professor that I went there with, he actually wrote a book, and it was all of the blogs and the journals. While in Africa, and that was the team that I traveled with. So while I that's the back cover.
Are they real pictures?
Oh yeah, they're real pictures. Dr. John Stanko from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. He was one of my professors in the associate program. He leads a team. He goes over every year a couple times in the year. And I know he has a trip coming up. So I said that to say, while I was in grad school, I took a travel writing class, and it was that travel writing professor that invited me back yesterday to the grad program to read. So I read last night at a bookstore in the Squirrel Hill area. So this piece that I have in this book, Me, Myself, and I, it was relating to my trip. It was a part of my travel writing essay packet that I had to turn in for grad school. So our professor would give us a word, one word, and we had to write something on that word. So it might have been a packet for the travel writing class. So my title is She Blue.
So is it a travel book or a novel?
I'm sorry.
What type of book is it?
Oh no, this is just that just related to my all of my women's book, but this was about me, this book, Me, Myself, and I, book of poems. And so this is just me writing my experience of a piece that I took out of a portion of my packet that I had to turn in for a grade in grad school, but it came from my actual trip. Oceanic Blue. Riding the clouds, 18 hours bound for a country in East Africa. Listening to my mind cogitate, I looked down the Kenya coastline on the Indian Ocean. She called out my name. She saw me, really, really saw me. She encompasses Savannah Lakelands, the dramatic Great Rift Valley, and the mountains. The ocean cried, Jumbo! A Swahili salutation and or greeting by the way of saying hello. Water filled my eyes, except I dare not cry. I began to purge all the deep-rooted pains that swallowed my pride. The body of water and I were on one accord as Nairobi came into bird's eye view. Welcome me home. Dedicated to Jumbo. So this salutation and this piece I wrote was the yearning that I had to go back to the motherland, to try to find any sorts of roots that I could, any piece of me that was there, because of course, being a woman of color or any person of color, you really don't really feel you belong anywhere. And so in going back home, I just wanted to capture everything about from my mind, cogitating on where do I come from. That ocean ride over the ocean. I'm sorry, that plane ride over the ocean. There were certainly words like navigate, altitude. There were different words that was given daily while in grad school, and you had to write. So I took my whole journey and wrote about to the moment. That's not what this whole book is about. This is a book of poetry, but this was just a piece in it about my journey. Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
That's fantastic, really.
Thank you. Now, Peter, can we please be graced with a piece? I've been waiting for this from your book. One of the poems, Peter.
Can I just say something? When you just talk about your books, I can see your deep feelings. You're just in it.
Yes, yes.
Fantastic.
You have to love. I think you love everything about you, what it is you do. I love writing. I love everything about writing.
Mm-hmm.
There's one piece, and I believe it's in that book, and it's I ain't got nothing but pride. And so I said, I ain't got nothing but pride. How does it go? I ain't got nothing but pride. I walk with a strut, swaying these big bone hips, pep in my step, cornbread collards and ham hocks to blame for all this. Arrogance claims my face. Uppityness is what it is. I can't escape your grace. I come from diamonds, salt, and gold, iron, cobalt, copper, silver of old, petroleum, cocoa beans, wood, and tropical fruits that one cannot hide. I ain't got nothing but pride. Don't hate me because I smile for your seeds, the shining seas. This land, your land. No dog in this fight. I ain't got nothing but pride. That's why my head's held on high. So I do have a pride about writing, because certainly writing is not something that a slave girl would have been allowed to do years ago. So the pen that I have today that I can pick up for her, those were her dreams. And the fact that I can live those dreams out, yes, I love writing.
Have you got anything new on your way, or are you working on a new book?
I'm working on a magazine actually right now. I just finished an anthology, and I had it with me, so that's why I have it. It's like, but that's what it
Magazine.
Yeah, it's We the People. So yeah, it's flags. We the People, by the people, for the people anthology. These are authors all over the globe. If I
haven't misunderstood, are they flags of the world?
Yes, yes, because it's an anthology. And
the picture isn't very clear, but I can just feel that they're flags. Flags of the world.
Yes, and I wanted, because there's authors in here from all over the world, I wanted to represent each of those authors. I want them to know this is not my anthologies, our writings as a united nation.
Are you going to publish it? Are you the owner of the magazine, the creator of the magazine?
Yes, this is my first one, so I'm just stepping out on faith. So yes, I am creating a magazine this time. So I like to try different things.
This is fantastic. I wish you every success, and I am sure you will be.
Thank you.
This is nice. I think Peter.
Yeah, sorry, I went. Sorry for the break. Sorry for leaving along this. Let me to read the poem, right?
Yes. You might have to read too, Peter. I love that one poem that I said the last time. You may have to read that one too.
My poems are always long, so I would see if I can, if I can find a short one to read. I read one in the first part of the conference. That was intercession. So I'll try and see if I can read another one. Let me read Whose Fault, Fate or Mine. Just that the tone of the narrator is quite hard, and reading them sometimes can be very emotional. So, wow. So I would love to read Whose Fault, Fate or Mine. This, the narrator questioning whose fault is it about his problems, asking if it is own fault or it's fate's fault. So it goes like this. I'm reading from page 57 of A Cry for Mercy, Escape from the Unseen Dungeons. If I am yet to receive it, if I yet suffer from arriving at the junction of fate, is it my fault? It has never been my wish to slow down the journey that leads to success, progress, and happiness. But what will I do when fate says it is not yet time? It is not yet time, you said. Okay, when will the time be? My close friends have forsaken me after they had expected success from me, but it yet tarries. My dearest ones sought to give me advice that my creator does not buy. Is the blame mine, even though I have tried, but failed rather? That is why I pray every time that fate should at least forgive me. I know I might have wronged it unknowingly. It said I should hope. I hoped. It said I should wait. I waited. It said I should be patient. I was patient. What else have I not done? I call on you, judges of kismet and doom. Come and judge my case with fate. How is it my fault that fate delays in its manifestation? How is it my fault that I yet suffer in the pool of stagnation? How is it my fault that I'm still held captive in the dungeons I cannot see? How is it my fault that I haven't gotten all that I desired from fate? How is it my fault that I yet suffer in the pang of many throes? How is it my fault that no one volunteers to dry my tears? How is it my fault that fate blamed me mercilessly? Am I the one who disappoints fate, or fate is the one who fails to keep to his promise? I told it before I left my mother's womb that I wouldn't
Huh.
love to suffer pang in any area of my life. I told it to manifest itself straight after my birth. It agreed and advised me to go. I never knew that fate had a separate plan. No wonder I cried while I arrived unharmed. Whose fault? My fault or fate's fault? He knows how long I have waited for fortune. He knows how many tears I have cried with no dryers. He knows the mystery of my saddened soul. He knows the pain that surrounds my story. Yet he watches me like someone unconcerned, whose offense that I yet live in pang, my mistake or fate's error. I did all in my power to reconcile with fate. I pray and praise him like a god. Little do I wonder if he has equal power to my creator, that he seems to be so strict and meticulous indeed. A lot of people have asked me if my fate has arrived. And whenever I tell them that fate told me that he is on his way, they would hiss and walk out of me with a word that is what I've been saying for many years. Then I am left alone to drink my tears in heartbrokenness. Whose fault? Fate or mine? Hear me, fate, I beseech you. I write this persuasive poem to you in anguish. Hasten your footstep before it gets dark. Take pity on my tears. My hope is totally dying. You promise you will come along with baggage filled with success, joy, promotion, and good life. Come and bring me out of my enormous unfavorable condition. I beg of you, I patiently wait for you, fate. Let us be faultless. Sometimes reading this poem can be very, very sad, and the words are very difficult to say because they are they are somewhat gloomy. Wow, so that's
It's something very emotional,
Yeah.
full of emotions and powerful words.
It was very emotional, but I loved your craft in that poem, in that particular poem. I love the questions, all of the questions. And I really, really love your refrains. You know, how is it my fault? How is it my fault? How is it my fault? I mean, that just kept going on and on and on, and as if you're going like kind of back and forth. There were so many things about that. And then I love that when you said, hear me, faith, I beseech you. That was just so powerful, that line there. And then you said you took pity, I take pity on my tears. I just love that piece, Peter. I loved everything about that book, but I really love the refrains. That's what stood out for me. And also one other thing in there that stood out was your play on words. When you said in there, how did you say it? You said, the years I cried without a dryer, something to that nature. Can you hear me? It seems like you froze.
But Peter has a connection.
It seems like he froze.
We can talk
right.
while
I think it's back now.
I think he's trying to
come in. Okay.
So I'm back now. You can talk.
I was saying to you, Peter, I loved your play on words. Okay, I said I also loved your play on words when you said the years I cried without a dryer. I love that. Was very, very clever for me. There were so many different things I pulled out of that piece from what I can remember of the poem, but mainly was the refrains that just keep asking, you know, how is it my fault? How is it my fault? You know, and then that question, what will I do? So
to summarize the point, I think he's very good at describing feelings in a powerful way. So it's not everyone's job really. So congratulations. I loved the way you described your story and your point, of course. So there are lots of descriptive words going on. I don't know if I can do this. It's quite complicated. Wow.
Thank you so much. That makes me blush.
Both of the readings. Leon, your readings are beautiful. I meant what I said to you. Please make a video and do a reading in your book. And when you show us the colors, you know, on the pages when you're turning that page for me, and just have a really nice setting. And I definitely post it on my Facebook page and share it with all of you to look or something.
You're so kind, really.
I would love to do that.
How can I connect to you? How can I get in touch with you? Peter, we are, I know, on Instagram, so I can. But with Renee, I can give you my, I don't know, contact.
I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. You certainly can connect with me there. I believe Instagram, I don't use it as much, but I do believe I am on there as well. But definitely, and I'm under my name, so I have an author's page on Amazon.
Can I take a picture right now? Picture of us, then with your name and Peter. Can I take a picture?
And he puts it in the when the video is done. Peter does a good job at putting it up.
Oh yes, it will be on
the link, and so
literature channel. So I am already a member of your channel.
Yes. So even on there, he puts up the links to the books and that. It does a very good job of following through with that. So
yeah. So
but Peter, your series, your series. Maybe take a picture of all three of them together, you know what I mean, and post that. Maybe send that to me as well, and I can post it, tag me in it, and I can put it on my page. You got the holidays coming. That makes all the difference in the world. It's a big holiday shopping season for people with books, for stocking stuffers. Also, I call it a train. Sometimes I'll put up a book on my page and I'll just tell authors, I say, hey, authors, drop your books on the links. And sometimes I've gotten, up to 100 books dropped on there, on the links.
I was also going to ask you about your anthology. You sent me a message about anthology in time past. Are you still going to do another one?
Yes, I will. I haven't started that. I'll probably go after the first of the year because I'm working on another book right now and that magazine. So probably after the first of the year, I will start my invites out for anthologies and the different searching for my different authors in that.
Yeah, that's great.
So yeah.
I'd love to have one of my poems in anthology.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, and I'll take previously published poems. Doesn't have to be something written for the anthology.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So thank you so much, everyone, for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I was hoping other people cannot join because something came up. I received quite a lot of mails that they can't come because of one issue or the other, apologizing, stuff like that. So it's really fun to have GÜLİSTAN YILDIZ MENTEŞ joining from Turkey and authoring in German Brown. Thank you so much for participating in the second part of the third edition of the Writers' Conference. It's a pleasure hosting you. It's a
pleasure. Thank you, GÜLİSTAN. I love your work, Peter. As always, it was real.
Thank you so much to both of you. It's been a pleasure for me to talking to you. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. Maybe it's night here. Have a nice evening.
Yeah, it's night here.
Nice afternoon.
8:41 p.m. So have a good night.
Afternoon in America. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, thank you. Goodbye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.